Most often the question of preserving a marriage arises when there is a bad streak in the relationship, the idol goes away, and there are mutual recriminations and scandals. Unfortunately, 80% of marriages these days break up. In the majority of cases it is because spouses do not want to deeply understand family problems, to change, to work on themselves and relations. After deciding to get a divorce, they start a new life with the hope that their next partner will be better, but as a rule the situation repeats itself. The following are the reasons why families disintegrate. 1. Life, monotony, boredom. 2. Different views on life, in particular on family creation, different values and goals of spouses. 3. Crises, life difficulties, trials, changes for which the couple was not prepared, having a child in the family, problems in business, bankruptcy, illness, etc. 4. Material difficulties, if the couple decides to start a family without a stable financial situation. 5. Infidelity. Most often caused by dissatisfaction with family relations, lack of emotions. 6. Cruelty, mental deviations, tyranny, violence, etc. As a rule, the victim in such relationships is a woman who tolerates bad treatment of herself. 7. In this case, the best thing to do is to gather your strength and decide to break up. It is not worth preserving such a relationship even for the sake of the children. Because sometimes the atmosphere in the family is so unhealthy and toxic, that the divorce of the parents is the only right decision for the mental and moral well-being of all family members, especially the youngest ones. 8. But if you feel that your relationship is not hopeless, it is just a difficult period which every couple faces sooner or later, then whether or not the partners will be able to overcome difficulties and preserve the relationship, most often depends not so much on circumstances as on their mutual desire to be together, to learn to hear and understand each other. 9. First of all, for a long-term stable relationship it is important that you and your partner be close in spirit, have approximately the same outlook on life, at least coincide on the most important points for you. It is also desirable that you are about the same cultural environment, social class, have a certain material stability. Practice shows that if these conditions are met, the relationship has a better chance of longevity. Of course, absolutely no two people are alike, and there will always be some disagreements, but it is important to learn how to properly bypass the sharp edges, armed with wisdom and patience, and then these small differences will make your union even more interesting. 10. Patience and considerate care for each other. Talk more often at heart. Open communication is very important, but this by no means means that you should not watch your words and the form of their presentation. Of course, you should not bend too much, but even when there are disagreements, it is important to continue to communicate respectfully and friendly, and it is better to express your discontent in relation to the words and actions of the partner, and not in relation to yourself. 11. Personal space. It is not necessary to completely dissolve in each other and forget about your own hobbies and interests. If you have been together a long time, sometimes it is useful to rest separately, to spend time in different companies. You do not need to do this on a permanent basis, but every now and then a separate vacation, usually a beneficial effect on the relationship, allows you to gain new strength, impressions, which you will then be happy to share with each other. 12. Support each other in difficult times, establish rapport, try to understand and accept your partner's point of view, even if it differs from yours. Don't be too touchy and be able to forgive. 13. Watch your appearance, take care of yourself. Try to look attractive even at home. Otherwise, it often happens that the wife walks in front of her husband mostly in twigs and old dressing gown, and he in front of her in sweatpants, which seems to have killed his grandfather. That is, they see each other every day in such an obscene way, but in front of strangers always dressed up. What is surprising in this case, that feelings have cooled down and lost interest. Appearance also plays an important role, especially for the bright-eyed visuals. 14. Try not to discuss your partner with strangers too much. You shouldn't take your quarrels out of thin air. You can in a fit of emotion paint your friends and acquaintances in black colors about how bad your beloved is, and they only based on your subjective vision, not understanding the situation, or even pursuing their own selfish interests, can set you against him even more. If you value the relationship, let your personal issues concern only you. 15. Don't let each other get bored. Think up interesting pastimes. Don't forget about romance. Arrange pleasant surprises. Give each other joy and gifts without a reason. Joke and laugh together more. Don't stop admiring your other half. 16. In controversial situations, even with relatives, try to always support your loved one. 17. And finally, remain a mystery to him. Do not be a boring read book. Sometimes it is extremely useful to play the mysterious lady. An element of reticence, intrigue, mystery, in reasonable proportions, will only add sparks to your relationships and help keep them always in tone. Although at times, even if all of the above has taken place, together to cope with the problems in the relationship, it is very difficult, and it is necessary to refer to a specialist, a qualified family psychologist. In such a case, it is very important to recognize the presence of difficulties in the relationship, and sometimes your own helplessness to cope with them independently, willingness to contribute to what is happening and accept help from the outside.